Welcome to the Sunset Strip. I'm Max.
And I'm Tina.
And we're here to discuss Season 1.
Season only.
Episode 1 of Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. The smartest show television has ever made. The most brilliant, mind-bending piece of media you will ever consume.
You cut off the bit I usually do, which is saying the episode title.
Oh, I'm sorry. What's the episode title?
Pilot!
Groundbreaking. Okay. I feel like we have to get ahead of this a little bit. I enjoy this show.
I love this show.
It is.
I love how bad this show is.
It is hilarious. It is really, really good. Because the thing is,
this show thinks it is so good.
Yes. The show thinks it is brilliant. And this show is... The central tenet of this show is that these people, the people who are running this fake SNL, are the most important people in the universe. And now, let's say if you're doing a show about, I don't know, the president and the other people working in the White House.
In the West Wing, even.
In the West Wing. Then, hey, yeah, you can kind of do a show about people who are...
saving the world.
Well, not to be America-centric, but kind of the most important people in the world. I'm sorry, we have a lot of nukes and people who like invading other people. I'm not saying this as a good thing. I'm just saying a lot of horrible things happen in the world because of the United States. Mm-hmm. So a show where people who run the United States are the main characters, those people would have reasons to feel like the most important people in the world.
Of course.
We have, frankly, an unwise amount of power.
Yes, but of course this show is not about people working in the West Wing. This show is about people working backstage at a Saturday Night Live-esque show called...
the most important job in the universe.
Called Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. Now...
oh my god,
wait.
I just...
I have to get ahead... You said you had to get ahead of something. I have to get ahead of something else.
Okay.
We have dedicated... a not insignificant amount of our time to talking about pop culture.
That is true.
So, let's not pretend that we don't think pop culture is important. It is. But take it down a notch, man! Yeah. Pop culture is something that also probably unwisely has way more power than it should have. Oh, no, I don't think that's necessarily unwise. I think art and the way art speaks to a society, like the conversation between a society and its art is important.
Okay, but now we have to start...
Now I feel like I should be writing dialogue for Studio 60.
Yeah, except the thing is, like, TV and movies and TV, a lot of... okay, I don't want to get into a whole thing about capitalism, but, like...
well, okay, but that's always going to influence... art.
Yeah, that's true. Almost all of the... what do I mean? What am I saying? Almost all. Basically, all of the paintings you see in museums were commissioned by rich people at some point. Like, yes, capitalism and art have always gone hand in hand, which would be an interesting thing to explore. And technically, this show does that.
You know what show I think explores that in an interesting manner? And I'm actually going to talk about it in one of our segments when we're done talking about this episode.
I know the answer, but I feel like you don't want me to actually
go ahead, say it.
30 Rock.
Okay, so let's talk about what this show is. And just let me say, if I had a nickel for every time two shows with the exact same plot came out at the same time, one of them was touted as highbrow, one of them was lowbrow, and the lowbrow one was far superior, I would have 2 nickels, which is not a lot. But it is weird that it happened twice. One of them being Sherlock in Elementary. Mm-hmm. And then the other one is obviously this and 30 Rock.
Yes.
And with that having been said, we should, this is the first episode. We are not known for doing this style of television show. So our poor listeners who followed us here from Once Upon a Time, we should fill them in on what this TV show is.
I do want to very quickly point out that thing that you just quoted, I'm sure the joke predates it, but if I had 2 nickels for every time X happened, that is a Phineas and Ferb meme.
It doesn't predate that, it's Phineas and Ferb, yeah.
Okay. So this ties back to something I've experienced. I think we may be in the same generation here, where my meme cutoff point is The Simpsons. I recognize memes from The Simpsons and stuff before The Simpsons, but there's a vast swath of memes that I have found out over the years are almost entirely from SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, I've never watched any SpongeBob, but I recognize the memes.
yeah, I fell off SpongeBob. I was exactly the wrong age for it when it was coming out.
Yeah.
But, like, it took me a while to realize the guy who was born with glass bones and paper skin, and I didn't realize that was a SpongeBob thing until I saw it. There's a bunch of SpongeBob stuff that just...
Max has made the thing flying over his head gesture here on this podcast a famously visual medium.
But, like, I'm wondering, I guess Phineas and Ferb didn't really supplant it because SpongeBob is a show that is so rich in memes. I wonder if that's because the monoculture kind of stopped existing before Phineas and Ferb was really a thing.
Ooh, the monoculture!
Yes, something that is vitally important to, let's be honest here, SNL, but more notably for this show, fake SNL.
Studio 60.
Studio 60. The most brilliant, groundbreaking show in the history of anything ever.
Okay, I feel like we keep going off on a tangent before we can actually say what the show is, but also we've kind of said what the show is.
It's fake SNL.
Yes, it's backstage at Studio 60 fake SNL. What's funny to me is that this show airs on the fake network NBS, the National Broadcasting System, whereas 30 Rock secured
the
NBC.
Actual bag, yeah.
Yeah, 30 Rock takes place in an SNL-style show called TGS on NBC.
And let's be clear about the reasons why 30 Rock works and Studio 60 doesn't.
The one very important reason.
Yes. The one most important reason 30 Rock works and Studio 60 doesn't is that TGS, the fake SNL in 30 Rock, is a bad show in universe. In universe, it is poorly written, poorly acted. All of the jokes are bad.
All of the skits are cliche.
Let's go through some of those skits, shall we?
The first skit that we ever see on the show is the highly offensive, fat suit dependent skit, Pam, the overly confident, morbidly obese woman.
Yes.
Where the whole concept of that skit is the Amy Schumer movie that came later, where she has a head injury that makes her think she's pretty. What an offensive movie!
Yeah.
But more 30 Rock skits.
Oh, Robot vs. Bear talk show. The one with the farting computer that can't stop farting.
Fart Doctor.
Fart Doctor. I don't think it ever got picked up, but Frank continually pitching Slee Stacks. Jokes about Slee Stacks, the monkey creatures from
Land of the
Lost.
Yeah.
Which weirdly got a remake movie starring Will Ferrell.
Yes, it did.
Where the character that was... Okay, so in the original show, I'm given to understand, I haven't seen it, it's about a scientist and his two children who are lost in this.
Yeah. Who end up in the Savage Lands from Marvel.
Yes. But then in the movie, it's about a scientist and like two people who are also scientists who for some reason have the same names as the kids from the original TV show.
You're looking at me questioningly like I have seen the movie. I assure you I have not.
Okay, I have, but like, and the one that has the name of the daughter from the original show is his love interest.
Ooh.
Which I'm like, why wouldn't you just give them different names? Also, I don't think anyone gave a shit about Land of the Lost. Like, if you're gonna change shit, change shit. The only people who are gonna recognize it are gonna get angry at it.
Yeah, don't like that.
And, I mean, honestly, I know people, everything's a remake. Like, you know, they made, like, 40 Hunchback of Notre Dame movies between 1920 and 1940. It's not a new thing. It's been since cinema began. But, like, a lot of people have been complaining about how everything's a remake. But I'm like, if you're going to do that thing where you take an old TV show no one remembers and then just do a completely original take on it, like, isn't that good? Like,
I have no problem with that. It's just they're not usually good.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the only example I can think of off the top of my head is Wild Wild West.
That was terrible.
The movie? It was fun.
Okay, we have to have a bigger conversation.
Okay, fine. The McG Charlie's Angels movies.
Those are good. Yep.
Yeah. Weird
Brady Bunch
racist
movie.
thing. What?
The Brady Bunch movie.
The Brady Bunch movie, although I think we might be a little past, just doing the parody thing doesn't really land as well these days, but like...
The Addams Family movies, which I know you don't care for, but...
Yes, I am aware that I'm the odd one out.
I feel like I've kind of outed you here by saying that you don't like them.
Yes, it is my one thing that loses me all geek, weirdo, outsider cred, if I have any. I don't particularly care for the 90s Addams Family movies.
But to get us back on track, the idea is that TGS is terrible in universe.
Yes. It is a bad show that is disliked by everyone. They have the highest ratings in 9-year-olds. I'm going to slaughter this quote. 9-year-olds whose parents have passed out and prison inmates over the age of 50. Like, it is a bad show liked by nobody.
Yes. Meanwhile, Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip is the greatest television show of all time.
It is high art.
And let me be clear, this is a trap. If you are a writer, it is a trap to have the piece of art within your piece of art be something great, because how are you going to do that? That's how you get Rory Gilmore.
Yes.
Her pieces are terrible, but supposedly she's a genius. Like, that, you're not going to get away with it.
I mean, this is why Tenacious D, rest in peace Tenacious D, this is why their song Tribute does not actually play the greatest song ever. This is just a tribute.
I couldn't remember the greatest song in the world. And then in the movie, when we actually see the greatest song in the world, we see that it was an error. Like, it was a mistake.
And then 15, 20 years later, One Direction did the exact same thing with their song, The Best Song Ever, which is a song that they heard in the context of the song, but they can't quite remember how it goes now. They blatantly ripped off Tenacious D, and I'm going to put it out there, it's One Direction's best song. Granted, it's one of, I think, 3 One Direction songs I've ever heard, but
it's 3 more than me.
But yeah, like, if you're going to just rip off a song, make it a fun one, and then make your own fun version of it. I mean, it's a boy band cover of Tribute. Who's not going to like that? It's Tribute if they were trying to date Satan. Which, honest to God, someone needs to make that song now.
I feel like you just said One Direction did.
Yeah, but Satan was a teenage girl.
Okay.
Because, they're all dating you. That's the premise of this band. There are a bunch of attractive boys who are all dating you.
That's the premise of all boy bands, though.
Yeah.
All right, the only artist who has ever cracked this, by the way, is Baz Luhrmann in Moulin Rouge. And the way he did it is he said, look, if Ethan Hawke's songs are supposedly the greatest songs in the world, we're just going to make this a jukebox musical, and we're going to bring in songs that have already stood the test of time and pretend that he is writing them. That is the only way we're going to get away with this.
I mean, a lot of movies do this to varying degrees of success. I loathe to bring it up here, but Zack Snyder's Sucker Punch, instead of seeing the amazing ballet routine or whatever the girl is doing, you instead see her fighting CGI like cyborg monsters, and then it flashes back.
Whoa.
Like, it goes into her head as she's starting the dance, where she's doing like this like kung fu thing.
I mean, I'm going to say a sentence that I don't think has ever been said before.
Yeah.
Sucker Punch is a little more complicated than that. It's not really about the ballet piece, but...
No, I'm just saying, whenever she has to do something, she goes into a different level of reality and then does it through a metaphor.
Yes.
That usually involves her putting on a schoolgirl outfit and fighting a dragon or something. And then she gets lobotomized, and that's how that movie ends. Spoiler alert for Sucker Punch.
It's a terrible movie, but you're right. Zack Snyder did crack it there.
Boo! Boo! Also, the guy who gives her the lobotomy is John Hamm, so that's weird.
The whole movie is weird. In fact, I hesitate to even call it a movie. Now, you know who, the one person I will say who was able to pull this off was Adam Schlesinger, who tragically died of COVID in 2020. But this is the man who composed That Thing You Do. One of the only instances where a piece of art about a piece of art, the work within a work, does what it needs to do and you believe would be an amazing pop song.
Yeah. He's also responsible for the music of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend and
And Fountains of Wayne.
He's done a lot of music you've definitely heard.
No, yeah, he was genuinely, I know it sounds ridiculous to say, I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but I don't want to go off on too big of a tangent, but, that was an incredible loss.
So, to summarize the point, which I think we left very far behind at some point, but to summarize the point, 30 Rock works because it is a show about a bad show. Studio 60 does not work because it is about a bad show that is supposed to be a very, very good show. And what does kind of, as sort of an extra layer, Liz clearly has the same mind frame as the people in Studio 60. Liz Lemon thinks very highly of her art. Mm-hmm. She has the same belief in the power of words and comedy, except she's not that smart. And, it's very clear that she will sell out her values at the drop of a hat.
And let me clarify the difference between her not being that smart and the characters on this show. The show knows that she's not that smart.
Yes, the show recognizes that Liz Lemon is, she's not that smart, and she doesn't really have a strong moral center.
Now let me just raise what I feel like will be the question of our podcast. Because we've talked about how, the art within the art, it's hard if that art is supposed to be, incredible, amazing, world-changing. I started this off by saying that I love this show, but not for the reasons it wants me to.
Yes. By the way, we're only going to do up to the Christmas episode because it's not really worth it after that.
Yeah, after the Christmas episode, it really starts to focus on Jordan's relationship with Bradley Whitford and stops focusing on the show, and it's just not interesting after that, honestly. So we're going to stop there.
Do you remember in Just Shoot Me, after Maya and Elliot started hooking up and their romance just tanked the show? No, because everyone else, you stopped watching Just Shoot Me way before that was a thing. Also, credit where credit is due. I appreciate that Just Shoot Me realized that romance was not working, dropped it really hard, and then it only ever comes up as a joke for the rest of the show. They realized that no one gave a shit about their will they, won't they, and they just dropped it.
Yes. So I think the question of our podcast is going to be, considering how much enjoyment we get from how bad the show is this show actually good?
All right.
That is what I believe will be the deeper question of our podcast.
It's been half an hour. I think we should probably start actually talking about the show now. So, we are backstage. It is another opening of another show.
I'm sorry. We've talked so much, but we haven't said the name. We haven't said the name of the man who has brought us all here tonight. Well, we did, because we talked about West Wing.
Yeah, but you're right. We didn't say his name. Much like, I don't know.
Candyman, we were afraid of summoning him.
Or Beetlejuice, or I guess Satan, you're not supposed to invoke him, right? Or else he shows up.
And to be clear, it's very possible to invoke him because he hates us.
Oh, yeah, he hates us.
He hates people who don't have, credentials talking about art. So he hates reviewers who review things on self-published podcasts or blogs. And that will definitely come up.
Yeah. A lot of this show feels like maybe a response to some people it was hard to hit directly back with in-universe in the West Wing.
Although, this will not come up in this show, so I'm just going to say it now. There is an episode of West Wing that directly attacks somebody who was criticizing West Wing. He just has that person be an intern at the White House.
Yeah. But
a thinly veiled version of that person.
But as Kristen Chenoweth once put it, I'm paraphrasing here because I don't remember the exact quote, it's very odd to see an argument you had with someone written into a TV show where he's allowed to write himself as winning.
I mean, that's not exactly what she said, but those are the words we put in her mouth.
Yes.
Ironically.
Ooh.
Yeah, so let's sit back and see what Aaron Sorkin thinks his job is within American culture.
This, I think, might be the Aaron Sorkinist Aaron Sorkin show, which is weird because every Aaron Sorkin show is very, very Aaron Sorkin-y by its nature.
Well, yeah. You know, what's funny is he's done shows. He did Sports Night, famously. He did West Wing. He did this show, which is about television. Then he did The Newsroom, right?
Yeah, this is the Jeff Daniels show.
Right. This is the show that has the least amount of cover, right? This is the show that has the least amount of sunlight between, like, the thing he's doing and Aaron Sorkin.
Oh, I thought you were going to say it has the least amount of sunlight because it was shot from entirely inside his ass.
Oh, man, that too.
Like, oh my god, this show is so... You know, we
Now listen, we have too many podcasts to do.
Yes.
So we're not going to do this, but I do think it might be interesting in theory, since we're going to end up comparing this to 30 Rock, to do a comparison between The Newsroom and Great News.
Oh, that would be fun, but then we'd have to watch The Newsroom.
Then we would have to watch The Newsroom. All right, let's get into it.
Great News should have got more seasons. It was really good.
I actually do think we should do a podcast about Great News.
It is a really good show. And then it got canceled. And I blame you, the listeners, for not watching it.
Hey!
I'm kidding. No one watched it. And no one watched the new Saved by the Bell, which was also really good.
No one gives Tracy Wakefield the credit she deserves.
She's so good.
All right. Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip.
So we open, it's another opening, another show.
We open with Simon Stiles, one of the main actors on the show, doing kind of the crowd warm-up. And by the way, he's doing some nice exposition crowd warm-up where he's like, how many people have been watching this show since they were in high school? How many people have been watching this show since it started 20 years ago?
Here's a brief history of the show. As you know, I've been watching a lot of really terrible fake stories on YouTube, and there's a lot of this in those. There's a lot of... As you know, we got married after 20 years of dating. You know, a conversation you would never have with your wife of 20 years. Oh, like
in text messages and stuff?
Yeah.
All right, so he's doing his, like, we do the cold open, we do live from New York, it's Studio 60, live from California, because this happens in California. Anyway, he's doing this, and while this is happening, we see an argument going on backstage between the showrunner and... head of standards and practices.
I wonder if this will come back later.
Oh my god.
Also, we have famous actress Felicity Huffman, who you might know from faking a bunch of stuff to get her kid into college, or Desperate Housewives, or Transamerica, which probably has not aged great, I'm guessing. I enjoyed it at the time, but...
I mean, it does have a cis woman playing a trans woman. That's not great.
I guess it's better than having a cis man playing a trans woman. We're not equipped to talk about this, but that's the only other thing I can really remember her being in. So,
okay, the main thing that you should remember her from, for the purposes of this show, is Sports Night, Aaron Sorkin's first show. That's why she's here. She's like a bridge between the shows. Although they obviously don't mention Sports Night, they just mention her as being, you know, on Desperate Housewives.
I mean, it's also a thing with Tina Fey and Tina Fey spin-off shows, the reusing of actors. I'd say it's another point of connection between the two shows, except literally every director does that ever.
Yeah, everybody does that.
Yeah.
All right, so...
No, Sean Gunn's just such a good actor that James Gunn has to put him in everything.
Speaking of Gilmore Girls.
Speaking of The Trap, putting your relatives and stuff, not...
Gotcha. I think it's just Trap, Dad.
Oh, God. Yeah, I'm doing the dad thing where I've started adding the to the title of things unnecessarily.
So, the showrunner is insisting that they get Jack Rudolph, head of the network, down here. And actually, he's the chairman of the board of the network. But he's at a dinner party. He's like, well, then get me Jordan. Ah, she's at a dinner party too. Jordan is the head of the network, right? So just to be clear, Jack is the chairman of the board of the network. Jordan is the head of the network. So Jack is Jordan's boss.
Donaghy, Tracy Jordan.
It is weird, right?
It is weird.
Obviously, that's just a coincidence, but here we are. And the point is they're both at a dinner party. It is the same dinner party. It is the dinner party to welcome Jordan to the network because her first day is Monday. It's Friday night and her first day is going to be on Monday.
Yes, and she is, importantly, the first sexy woman to ever be sexfully put in sex charge of the network.
I mean, we haven't talked about that yet, but yeah. So the head of standards and practices tells the showrunner, Wes, that he absolutely cannot run the skit no matter how funny it was at dress rehearsal.
No matter how brilliant and funny and world-changing this sketch is, it cannot go on!
Because 50 million people will be calling the network on Monday morning to say they were offended.
For pitchforks, torches, they're gonna burn this whole Megillah down. This speaking truth to power is so not only incredibly funny, the funniest thing ever written. Not only is it that, but it is also powerful. It will change minds and it will infuriate those who, prefer people to be unenlightened.
Okay, so this is kind of the inciting incident of the whole show, is standards and practices saying they cannot run this sketch.
Because of how brilliant it is.
Because of how offensive it is. This is why we are harping on this. So,
offensively brilliant.
Even though we are not going to find this out until way later, let's go ahead and spoil for our listeners the name of this sketch.
Crazy Christians.
Crazy Christians!
The showrunner is horrified, of course, that this brilliant sketch will no longer see the light of day.
And instead they're going to have to run Peripheral Vision Man.
A sketch which famously everyone hates, but they keep doing anyway.
And here's the thing.
We know SNL does this all the time. Off, it's Pat.
But also, is Peripheral Vision Man, just based on the title of it, is it obviously a worse sketch than Crazy Christians?
I mean...
Is it obviously a worse sketch than Pimp My Trike?
God. You're blowing one of our segments here. But, yeah. I just want to put this out there. I consume SNL, I think, the way it is meant to be consumed. I don't like saying I consume media, but I'll say it for SNL. Come on. I will watch SNL when the sketches naturally reach my timeline, because that means that they've gone through several layers of quality control before reaching my eyes. So I like SNL. I only see the good stuff. There are some multiple week stretches where I don't see any SNL at all, but I've seen a lot of really good sketches.
Yeah, the best way to watch Saturday Night Live is curated. That is absolutely true.
Judging from a lot of the movies SNL ended up making, I feel like pushing sketches that no one particularly thinks are funny is a proud history on this sort of show.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is, but, I mean, be careful, because Wayne's World is a great movie.
That launched no one's career.
It launched Mike Myers' career.
Okay, what was the last non-Shrek movie Mike Myers was in?
Oh, his career has since dried up,
yes.
But it was huge for a while.
Yes, he had a good, 10-year run?
Yeah. He was huge for a while.
As opposed to Dana Carvey.
Poor Dana Carvey.
I mean, he had the Dana Carvey show, which famously crashed and burned. Speaking of horrible sketch comedy, if you want to see a role you have to imagine Steve Carell wants every tape of this burned. It is a show where he does brownface, and it is really bad. And then he followed it up with Master of Disguise, which I'm not quite sure if you could call it racist, but it's definitely trying to be.
It's racist adjacent.
I mean, I'm not Italian, but I feel that pistachio disguise is a horrifying insult to the proud country of Italy.
I don't know why Dana Carvey never really broke through with something great. Like, everyone knew who he was. He was so famous for so long without producing a good project. Like, that just seems statistically unlikely, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And Mike Myers was very successful for a brief period of time. Then he didn't do anything but Shrek movies for a while. Yeah, I've heard he's like one of those people where you're like not allowed to make eye contact with him.
Yeah,
like,
I feel like the stuff that brought him down has been very difficult off screen. But let's be clear,
there's a reason he's basically only done voiceover work for the past, 20 years at this point?
But if you weren't around at the time, like, the Austin Powers movie was a really huge cultural moment.
Oh my god, yeah, I kind of forgot about what a huge thing that was.
Yeah, like, you can't act like that wasn't remarkable, so... Anyway, on to this show. Felicity Huffman manages to corner Wes backstage as he's, running around backstage upset that his vision is being compromised. And Felicity Huffman is like, Wes, is it just me, or is the monologue that y'all wrote for me terrible? And he's like, listen, your comedy instincts are dead on. That monologue is terrible.
Yeah, and before he comes up to her, she's like, should I wear the sexy skirt or the really sexy skirt? And after he says, the monologue is dog shit, you are a smart comedian and you are too good for this, she's like, okay, really sexy skirt.
Yeah, she tells the PA who has, the two outfits, she's like, yep, let's put me in the super slutty dress. And then the show starts. And in true Saturday Night Live tradition, it starts with a political sketch, right? We are in the Oval Office. A comedian pretending to be George W. Bush is doing a little speech. And
it's weird, given how much evil George W. Bush unleashed into the world, how, all of the jokes were just kind of about him being, dumb.
Yeah.
Granted, I don't think he was a brilliant guy or whatever, but there were multiple books of Bushisms you can buy. Well, he was starting a war that has killed so many people.
Well, I mean, I didn't bring it up, and this is actually maybe a good time to say that this show came out in 2005, just to kind of place us in time where we are. As a culture, in pop culture, in politics, that's where we are. This is 2005. And
everyone's kind of starting to get out of the incredibly jingoistic place we were in for the 2-3 years after 9/11. We're still in the midst of it, but we're starting to get out of it.
And in this particular sketch, a comedian who is supposed to be Dick Cheney is standing directly behind the comedian who's supposed to be George W. Bush. And I think
he's literally puppeting him.
I think the general consensus was that W was stupid and Cheney was evil pulling the strings. So you're right, yeah, he did so much evil, and yet we only talked about him being stupid. But I think we all talked about Cheney being evil.
The man who literally shot someone on a hunting trip, and then the guy apologized to him. I remember being in class and hearing about the fact that Dick Cheney shot someone and that no one was doing anything about it.
Yep, that's exactly what happened. Yep.
I'm sorry, that's not true. A lot of people made jokes about it. Which, here we are.
So, Wes, the showrunner, goes onto the set and he's like, all right, everybody else off because I want to talk and I don't want y'all getting in trouble for this. And they leave the set and the audience is kind of laughing because they still think this is part of it. And he's like, listen, you should all change the channel. Television is crap. They won't let me show you the truth. By which I mean crazy Christians.
Yeah, he goes on this rant about how everyone needs to sit down, turn off the TV, and hit your children.
Okay, now let's talk about the Aaron Sorkin of it all, because he's like, television is trash. Everything is terrible. Everything we do is filth. We're doing shows like Who Wants to Screw My Sister and TV is lobotomizing you and
America's Sexiest Dog.
And of course
we're a nation in decline. Why don't people read anymore?
And the standards and practice guy runs into the control booth and is like, why aren't you cutting him off? Well, first of all, he's saying, why aren't you bleeping him? And the guy points out he's not saying anything you're not allowed to say on television. He hasn't said any curse words.
Yeah.
And he says, why didn't you cut him off? And he says,
I can't. He isn't saying anything that isn't true.
Oh my god!
Which, I don't think that's how that works. I feel like...
Well, no, he doesn't even say he can't. He's like, I'm waiting for him to say something that's not true. Like, he's being openly defiant of the guy from the network who's telling him to shut it down. And I do appreciate, though, here's the thing about this show. Like, it's so ridiculous. It's so bad, but also the dialogue is so, like, fast-paced and witty that you get sucked in. The standards and practice guy is like, he's telling them to change the channel! To which the control room operator responds, I promise you, no one is changing the channel!
Yeah, the dude is having a major league meltdown. He's like, there's a battle between art and commerce is kicking art's ass. And the thing is, a lot of his points are not bad. Like, we're seeing a lot of this now. The whole AI push, like...
I mean, I would argue that it's a straight line from trash reality television through The Apprentice to our current national nightmare. So, yeah. I mean...
He's not saying any... I'm waiting for him to say something that isn't true, yeah.
I mean, we just spent so long mocking Aaron Sorkin for being like, pop culture matters, and, you know, here we are, so... Maybe joke's on us?
So, he starts tearing into the American right, specifically the religious right, and how, you know... They're canceling people. He's like, you know, you can't even do the most brilliant sketch ever written. We wrote the most brilliant sketch ever written and it can't air because they're afraid of offending those giving them the opening to cut him off.
Right before he says motherfucker. And you know what? I do kind of love it when network television does that. When they do a cut right before someone says a curse word instead of hiding it or having fake curse words, right?
Yeah.
So he says mother F, and then finally the control room guy hits the button, and we go to both the fake credits of Studio 60 and the Sunset Strip and the real credits of this show, huge across the screen, created by Aaron Sorkin.
He wanted you to know. Also, I'm just putting this out there. I know other shows do it, but I like the thing Happy Endings did, where they just had them casually swear and bleeped it out. It's way funnier than actual swearing, and it makes the show feel more realistic because a group of people in their 30s would casually swear around each other all the time.
Yep, I agree.
Also, Happy Endings is really good. It has kind of a weak first season, but it really picks up in the second season. And, so, you know, we'll watch the first season too. What are you doing? Come on.
So... the show has done the thing that Simon Stiles gently explained to us is how television shows start. We had a cold open, and then we threw to credits. And the reason I bring this up is because it's going to be a running theme in this show that Aaron Sorkin thinks that anybody who watches television is really, really dumb. And so we're going to get condescended to a lot.
Yes, because television is the most important thing ever. It's, you know, it's where the modern philosophers philosophize, but the people watching it are, like, dung people undeserving of any credit. It's kind of like he thinks that he's trying to explain astrophysics to beagles.
Yes, we're gonna get real deep into this in the Pahrump, Nevada episodes.
Mm. The withering contempt this man has for the common man.
Oh, just to preview it a little.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Also, weirdly enough, 30 Rock has a response to that.
It does.
Several seasons in, but the Stone Mountain, Georgia episode feels like a direct pot shot at that episode of this show no one watched.
Well, there's a bunch of things in 30 Rock that feel like direct responses to this show, hence one of our segments, which is going to be the 30 Rock response. All right, let's start the show after our cold open. We come back with, over the screen, Jordan, because now we're going to see what happened with Jordan. You remember that is the new head of the network who has just been hired and is at the dinner party celebrating her hiring.
She's Amanda Peet. You might know Amanda Peet from I think she was the mean, sexy girlfriend in the movie Saving Silverman. Is that the best reference for Amanda Peet? Everyone remembers that movie, right?
I mean...
Jason Biggs, a young Jack Black, a young Steve Zahn, Arlie Ermey for some reason.
I mean, she's a respected actress. She's been in a lot of stuff, but I always just think of her as Jordan McDear from Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip.
So I'm sure she's thrilled to know our two different reference points for her. The early 2000s, late 90s movie where two slacker guys kidnap their best friend's mean girlfriend because she's going to bully him into proposing to her and then they'll never see him again.
That's so gross.
A movie in which she uses her psychology powers because she's a psychologist to convince Jack Black that he's gay, and then he marries Arlie Ermey, a man who I think was in his 80s at the time at the end of the movie.
Okay, so not to preview another segment we're going to have on this podcast,
yes,
but that sounds like a movie that hates women.
Probably. I mean, they successfully save Silverman from her, but I think she ends up with Steve Zahn's character because he's kind of a subby guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. You know how Bill Lawrence clearly has a very specific fetish that he filters all of his female characters through on all of his shows?
I am aware of that, yes.
I wouldn't be surprised to find out that Bill Lawrence might have had a hand in saving Silverman. I mean, also look who he married. Not to judge her by the role she plays in every single Bill Lawrence show, but I have to kind of imagine that's what she's like in real life.
Now, I have to say, this show, weirdly, even though it has this, like, contempt for television.
And women. Sorry, go on.
It also has these, like, nostalgia goggles for old television. Even though, objectively, this is the time when television was entering its golden age. So, I think that they're kind of paying tribute to that with, we didn't mention, but the showrunner is played by Judd Hirsch, and right now at this dinner party, one of the board members is being played by Ed Asner, who is giving a little speech about from straight from Exposition Monthly about how great Jordan is. At least I guess it's kind of appropriate for him to be like giving her whole CV here.
Yeah. Again, the show does not trust you at all. Every character shows up, explains their entire backstory. It's a whole thing. Also, there's a lot of celebrities in this. I'm not saying Ed Asner wasn't a gettable guy. He was in the Sarah Silverman show. He did a good job. I mean, it feels weird to compliment him. He played a Nazi who was recruiting other old people to be Nazis.
What I think is especially odd is that Ed Asner is in this episode, and next week we're going to directly reference Mary Tyler Moore.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, he's definitely there because of what an important part he plays in TV history for, of course, the role of Cosgrove in Freakazoid.
Listen, I'm just saying, literally one episode from now, and we're talking about them as two episodes, but they aired back to back. They were meant to be one, right? So Ed Asner appears in the beginning, and then in the next episode, which, is the same, you're watching it the same night, Jack specifically quotes Mary Tyler Moore to Jordan to prove that he understands television.
God.
Like, there's not even a breath in between them.
So, not to be mean, and honest to God, I don't remember, but I was listening to an episode of Talking Simpsons, which is a very good podcast about The Simpsons, and weirdly enough, they were talking about Studio 60.
Oh, that is weird.
Yeah. And the guest host they had for that episode, because they always have a guest host, was like, well, the thing is, the pilot's really well written, and then the rest of the show's really bad. Like, it feels like a completely different thing. And I'm like, I think you are vastly misremembering something, because the pilot is not really, really good and the rest of the show is bad. He was talking about them like there's two separate things, and if you just watch the pilot as a, 90-minute thing, then it's really good.
Well, let me be clear about this. Let me be clear about all of this.
Okay.
And I'm being clear about all Aaron Sorkin, I think, when I say this.
All right.
This is well written. This this pilot, these first 2 episodes are well written. And honestly, the entire show is really well written. The dialogue is snappy. You are invested in it. It's like, it hits that sweet, it scratches your brain in that perfect way. It's just also completely ridiculous. And that is true from the beginning to the end. So the question, this is hence my question. Wait, is this good or not? Like, they're not wrong to say that the pilot is good. Sorry, let me correct that. They're not wrong to say the pilot is well written. The question is it good?
What is this, a Community episode that's a sequel to the one about Nick Cage, which is a sequel to the one about Who's the Boss?
Oh my god, yeah, the whole, like, is Nick Cage a good actor? That's kind of how I feel about Aaron Sorkin in my head right now. I'm like, I'm a cat! I'm a cat!
I don't know. Maybe if I spent 40 years talking at random volumes in thousands of movies, I'd have an Oscar too.
Maybe if I thought I was the greatest writer in the world, my dialogue would be amazing too! And also, so completely full of myself. Alright, so yeah, Ed Asner is giving Jordan CV.
Yes, she has quickly risen through the television ranks, and now she, a young, attractive woman, has become head of the network. Is that her, she has a very specific title.
So she's head of the network, and when I said that Jack, who is played by Steven Weber, by the way, and honestly, I don't know if that's a reference to old television or not, right? Because, you know, he was obviously one of the stars of Wings.
You mean Aaron Eckhart wasn't the star of Wings?
Do you mean...
I do mean Thomas Hayden Church.
Oh, you meant Thomas Hayden Church.
Yeah. Because he's the guy who repairs stuff, right?
He is.
Yeah, I mix him and Aaron Eckhart up all the time, even though I know
yeah, I can see that!
On a practical level, I know they don't look that similar, but I totally get them mixed up all the time.
Oh! I mean, anyway, doesn't matter. The point is, Steven Weber is Jack, who's the head of the board of directors of the media group that owns the network, right? And then Jordan is the head of the network. So Jordan is actually the same position as
Jack Donaghy
in 30 Rock. And then Jack Rudolph, Steven Weber's character, is the Jack Welch character and real person from 30 Rock. So that's how it's working out, right?
God, these two shows are so similar.
Yeah, so Jack Rudolph is basically the head of GE.
Yeah.
So Jordan compliments the caterers, which is apparently a huge faux pas. And
you don't acknowledge the help, not when you're in the upper echelons of television society.
And is then passed a note that her assistant is trying to get a hold of her, so she needs to go make a call and call her assistant. And she says, it can't be that big a deal. I mean, it's my first day, right?
Wah, wah.
And then everyone's cell phones at the tables begin ringing. You see, this is what I mean. It's like an amazing moment.
I mean,
it's perfectly timed comedically. It's a cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason.
Oh no, she's right behind me.
No,
I'm in front of you.
No,
that was a good subversion of that.
I think what could possibly go wrong is a joke that I still find funny. It's not as bad as, oh no, he's behind me, isn't he? So,
which, as I just quoted, Futurama did the perfect subversion of, and now nobody can do it anymore.
Exactly. So we cut to the studio at Studio 60. 3-6 Mafia is performing on stage, so they're all gonna go use 3-6 Mafia's dressing room to watch the tape to see what happened. And of course, it's filled with pot smoke. Oh my god!
Oh my god. Musicians smoking marijuana? What is this?
So they get the tape of what happened, but of course, it's, the tape is half-inch because it's a professional TV studio. So they need to go get the right kind of VCR. It's like, it's chaos, but everybody's shouting terms to let you know that everybody knows what television is, basically. And Jordan wanders off in this chaos to go have a talk with Wes, who is basically just sitting up in his office waiting to get fired.
Yeah, like he knows what the deal is. She comes in and she's like, "Hi, don't let my breasts distract you. I'm the new head of television." He's like, "Oh, are you and your breasts here to fire me?" The sexualization of Amanda Peet's character is not fantastic.
Oh man, you've only watched the first episode to prep for this podcast. I mean, I know you've watched the rest of it before, but let me tell you, it gets worse. It gets so much worse.
We have eyes. You don't need to keep reminding us through dialogue that Amanda Peet's Jordan is a young female character who is attractive.
Yeah.
Like, also, you don't need to remind us that it's weird. It is weird how little Aaron Sorkin trusts the audience.
He thinks we need to have our hands held through all of this. He really does.
Like she says, she's like, I know that nobody thinks that I'm capable of doing this job because I'm a young, attractive woman. I'm like, that is not something you need to state verbatim. That is something we should understand through the show.
So she has her conversation with Wes where she basically says nothing to him, but lets him know that, hey, she's sorry about all this, but yeah, he definitely needs to be fired. And then Jack comes in and fires him, has him escorted off the property. And then we cut to the news montage. Now, we've told you what happened. We told you that Wes went on the stage and said how he was mad as hell and he wasn't going to take it anymore. And in Aaron Sorkin's world, literally every single news anchor is like, in a scene straight from a Patty Chayefsky movie, in a scene straight from Network, like, what?
Come on.
What?
Come on.
And then Jordan has to point it out. Jordan's like, I'm just excited that people are talking about Patty Chayefsky again. That people know who that is. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
His speech elevated the rest of television. Because if you give the common folk a shining example of culture, they rise to meet it.
And then again, I do kind of like this moment where her assistant comes up to her and is like, hey, listen, it was a faux pas for you to thank the caterers in front of the hostess. And Jordan is like, I think that is literally the last thing on everyone's mind right now. So everybody's kind of gathered in the war room to talk about what's going on and what they're going to do.
Whose heads are going to roll.
The news division is going to be really mad that he said that news is basically crap now. And
the ratings on Who Want to Date My Dog have gone right into the trash.
So, no, but again, I like this, right? Jack is like, okay, the Who Wants to Screw My Sister comment, is that one of our shows? And they're like, we're trying to find it out. And then Jordan laughs. And Jack calls her out. He's like, you think this is funny? And Jordan's like, yeah, I think it's funny that you're not sure which sister fucking show he was talking about. I do think that's funny. That's funny. It's objectively funny. Jordan takes control because she is a woman in control.
Yeah, she's a strong, powerful businesswoman.
She says, basically, the news can kiss my ass. Tell them to go report the news. I don't care how angry they are. What the fuck? And she says, listen, we can't keep people from talking to the press, especially not the big three. And this is the thing about Aaron Sorkin that just really irks me when I watch it. Aaron Sorkin feels like he always has to put someone in the room who doesn't know basic facts that the person should know, and that's how he exposits. And that really bugs me, right?
I mean, it's the John Mulaney bit about Ice-T's character in Law & Order SVU, where in every episode they have to make him the guy who doesn't understand incredibly basic things about sex crimes so they can be explained to the audience. Which is weird because his character has been working in the sex crimes division for like 20 years at this point.
Right? Okay, so when Jordan says we can't keep people from Studio 60 from talking to the press, especially not the big three, and then someone in the boardroom for this network, right? This network, your whole job is this network. And he's like, what does Detroit have to do with anything? And she explains, no, I meant the three big stars. And this is so that we know the three big stars are Harriet Hayes, Tom Jeter, and Simon Stiles.
As you know.
As you know. And Jordan points out, listen, our problem is not that people are going to go out there and say that Wes had a nervous breakdown on television. Our problem is that people are going to go out there and say that Wes was right. That television is a cesspool that is destroying the American public. That's what we need to address.
Yes. We need to better ourselves. We need to become the beacon that Wes thinks that we could be, even if we do risk controversy. And Stephen Weber was like, no, No.
We're literally. I mean, this isn't what Jack says, but this is what Jack Donaghy says on 30 Rock. It's like, your show exists to sell toothpaste. Like, what? You can't be like, fuck the advertisers, we're making art. Your show is just to keep people watching while we sell them products.
So she confidently walks out of the room, a strong, powerful woman, and Steven Weber follows her, and she turns around and she's like, I don't know where my office is. If only there was a big, strong man to help me.
So they do the walk and talk, the famous patented Aaron Sorkin walk and talk.
Okay, I have to say, Great News has my favorite riff on that. when they run out of hallway and walk into a wall.
Yeah, that is great. So they're doing their walk and talk, and while Jack walks her to where her new office is, she says she wants to hire the old executive producer and head writer, Matt Albee and Danny Tripp. And he's like, do you have a past relationship with them? Are you fucking one of them? And she tries to turn it on him, and she's like, did people ask you that when you hired me? And he's like, yeah, they did. Although I would say...
I mean, you have to remember, she is a sexy woman who makes people think about sex.
Right, but she's like trying to turn it on him, and essentially what she means is, would you ask me this question if I was a man, right? They wouldn't have asked Jack that question if she was a man. This is all...
Yeah, she should have said, did they ask you that when you hired them initially?
Right? Apparently there was a big brouhaha before when they were fired several years ago. You know, it's heavily implied here and will be stated later that they were fired because they valued their artistic integrity. So bringing them back makes a statement.
Yes. As was stated, people aren't sure who wrote Crazy Christians because it was too good to be written by anyone on the writing staff, particularly two names who are the guys who are the, like, punching bags of the writing staff. Mm-hmm. They're the Lutz.
Yeah, so we will, of course, learn later that this was a sketch that Matt Albee wrote before he quit / was fired.
Matt Albee, by the way, is played by Matthew Perry, who I guess was sick of characters not having his name.
Yeah.
He's like, you know what? Hopefully this will become a new defining role for me, so when people call me by my character name, it'll be my actual name. I won't have to deal with people calling me Chandler anymore, which I'm sorry, Matthew Perry, but that did not work out for you.
Yeah. You know what is interesting about Matthew Perry? Like, again, as I said, my big question here is going to be, is this show good or not? I don't know. But I feel like Mr. Brightside, another show he did, was really overlooked. Like, I feel like he was out there doing quality work after Friends that really didn't get a lot of recognition.
Unlike some people I could mention, cough, Matt LeBlanc.
Matt LeBlanc is amazing playing himself in episodes.
Yes.
The television show episodes.
Yes, he does an amazing job doing that specific thing. Did you try to watch the sitcom where he's a man, but his wife wants to do business, so he becomes a stay-at-home dad?
Oof, I remember that.
It is legitimately, I think, one of the worst pilots I've ever seen. He has to make lunch for his kids, and he gets mad because one of the other kids at the school has a peanut allergy, so he can't make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And he's like, what happened to America? And I'm like, oh my god, is this Matt LeBlanc's turn into being right-wing? But I think he just did a shitty sitcom that lasted way longer than you'd think.
Jenna Fisher was originally supposed to be the wife on that, I think.
Oof.
Yeah.
Bullet dodge, Jenna Fisher.
Right. You know who from Friends went out there and did great work?
Lisa Kudrow.
Lisa Kudrow!
Underrated.
Oh my god, the comeback, so amazing. And also, you know what? I'll say it, web therapy is good too.
I just want to touch on this briefly because I feel obligated to mention this one thing in one of our podcasts. Matthew Perry had a couple shots at being a movie guy. The whole 9 yards.
Fools Rush In.
And I think his last gasp at being a guy who was in movies was 17 Again. Which is not exactly... it's not really a body swap movie.
No, it's a time travel movie.
Yeah, he falls off a bridge and he gets turned into his 17-year-old self in the modern day so he can infiltrate his kid's school and fix everything that's wrong with it using good old-fashioned wisdom, because I guess that was a thing. Like, he tells girls to stop being sluts and...
No. Okay. You're describing 17 again, but I feel like you haven't actually watched it 5 or 6 times. You've just watched, like, videos about it.
I've seen 17 again.
Okay.
Twice, even.
Okay. The whole point is he's trying to get back the chance he missed. It's not a, like...
He's trying to get Judy Greer back.
No, the opposite. Well, that happens. But
or is it Leslie Mann?
It's Leslie Mann, and he's trying to win a basketball game because he lost his chance to go get scouted.
Yes, because his girlfriend needed to talk to him about being pregnant.
Yes.
With Michelle Trachtenberg, his daughter, who tries to sleep with him in the movie because that always has to happen in this kind of movie.
Yes.
Michelle Trachtenberg, who is Dawn in Buffy.
Yes.
And also Harriet the Spy, and then she was in the movie Euro Trip, which I think was the last...
But what about 17 again?
Oh, just Dawn from Buffy was in it. I feel like we're obligated to bring up every...
Oh, because we hadn't mentioned Buffy yet?
We hadn't mentioned Buffy yet.
Melora Hardin from The Office is also in it. She plays the principal of the school.
Jan.
Yes, Jan from The Office. I really think that movie... Okay, if you just take out the parts of the movie that are Thomas Lennon as a giant nerd trying to, like, figure out what genre movie they're in, I feel like it's a solid 20-minute sketch.
If you only watch the Thomas Lennon scenes, then yes, it's a much
That's
stronger
the way to
movie.
watch 17 again!
Well, he's also the best part of Pottersville.
Oof.
Which,
that
oh my
movie,
god.
That movie is bad!
It's so... Okay, like... If you are afraid of people catching you in your Sasquatch costume, stop wearing your fucking Sasquatch costume. Speaking of trying to get Judy Greer back, it's not going to get Judy Greer back. Also, your wife didn't leave you because she was a furry. She left you because she wasn't in love with you anymore.
I feel like the way you're talking about it might make our listeners curious enough to watch it.
Don't watch Pottersville. It's not
so
good.
Bad. And it's not interesting bad. It's boring bad.
It's a movie where the entire conflict would be over if a guy stopped doing something he has no reason to do.
Right, it's not like it's like a...
There's no reason for him to keep putting on the Bigfoot outfit. I'm glad Judy Greer got a paycheck.
So, Jack Rudolph tells Jordan that she's way out on a limb here and he's not sexually attracted to her, so she doesn't have any leeway with him.
What a necessary thing to say in this conversation.
Right?
I mean, I know part of her character is that everyone is constantly implying that she slept her way to the top, which isn't a thing.
So gross.
It's not a thing.
Yeah, really? Then how do you explain all those women at the top?
Yeah. As I believe Gloria Steinem said at some point, you know, if women could sleep their way to the top, there would be way more women at the top.
Right? Anyway, so we got the little image that said Jordan. Now we get another little image saying Matt and Danny, so we can see what they're doing. And we've already mentioned that Matthew Perry is Matt. We should mention that Bradley Whitford, previously of West Wing.
Yes.
And after this of...
Cabin in the Woods.
I was going to say Get Out.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've seen Bradley Whitford and stuff.
Anyway, he's Danny Tripp. They are at an awards dinner.
He's Danny Tripp because he uses drugs.
Well...
And the other character is Matt because he's played by Matthew Perry.
Yes. Now...
Remember, Aaron Sorkin does not trust you.
Since you brought up drugs, though...
Yes.
I do think it's interesting that in this particular scene, Matt Albee, the character played by Matthew Perry, is incredibly stoned. He's having difficulty, like, carrying on conversations with people because he's incredibly out of it. But the reason that he is out of it is not because he has a drug problem, but because he had back surgery and he's on, like, a bunch of painkillers because of his back.
I guess it's nice that they didn't give Matthew Perry's character the drug issue given his real life drug issues.
Yeah. This scene... Okay, so the reason I brought that up is because, yes, Matthew Perry famously had real life drug issues. And in fact, just to, like, do this little PSA, like, he did say that he hoped his legacy would not be Chandler, but would rather be, like, talking to people about recovery and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he was very active in the recovery community. He had gone through it. And he did a lot of work to help a lot of people who had drug issues, which is a thing we should acknowledge about Matthew Perry.
Mm-hmm. And it does make me wonder if this was not originally written for him to actually be high and was rewritten to be a back issue with him on painkillers. I obviously have no evidence for it. It's just the knowing the backstory of the actors makes me wonder if that was an issue, especially because it becomes very plot significant that Danny, the character played by Bradley Whitford, has a drug problem. And I wonder if they gave that to his character, if they took that from Matt's character and gave it to Danny.
Oh, yeah, I 100% do. I 100% they think that they cast Matthew Perry originally and were going to have him be the recovering drug person, and then either decided it was a bad idea or he was like, hey, I'm not doing this. Which, good on him if it was him.
This is, of course, pure speculation on our parts. It's
yes.
just a thing that occurs to me watching it. So we get kind of a conversation here where we find out that Matt used to date Harriet Hayes. Remember, she's one of the big three.
Yes, she's one of the big stars of fake SNL. And
she and Matt have recently broken up, so recently that all of their friends at the table don't even know the story of why they broke up. And he says they broke up because of the Star-Spangled Banner.
Something which everyone at the table conspicuously repeats. You broke up because of the Star-Spangled Banner? We broke up because of the Star-Spangled Banner. The Star-Spangled Banner's the reason you broke up?
And let me just tell you, this moment right here, if the fictional character, and I'm talking about the fictional character here, if the fictional character of Matt Albee was not so completely up his ass the rest of the show, this moment would be the moment where he loses all of my sympathy. So he tells the story of why he and Harriet broke up. And the story is that she was singing the Star-Spangled Banner at the Dodgers game, and he was off in London working on a movie. And when he came back, he said, how'd it go? And she said, it was great. I got a standing ovation. And he says, it was a Star-Spangled Banner. Everyone was standing. And then she got mad at him and dumped him.
This is such an ungenerous read by the character.
It's not an ungenerous read. It's a straight-up lie.
Yes, it is a straight-up lie. But it's odd that he's choosing to tell this story that also makes him look like the biggest jackass on earth.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that this is a fake story he has made to control the narrative. And it's a story where he comes off like the hugest asshole on earth. I don't want to immediately date this podcast, but it's a real shut up about Pikachu for 30 goddamn seconds.
The thing is,
or whatever the quote is.
The thing is, if it was a real story, like if they really broke up because of the Star-Spangled Banner, and he was my friend, and he told me the story, I would say, okay, obviously she didn't break up with you because you told her that people stand up for the Star-Spangled Banner. She broke up with you because she was sharing in a jokey way that she did really well at a performance of a notoriously difficult song, and you made fun of her. You jerk!
Yeah. Like, don't make fun of your partner.
Contempt is like the #1 relationship killer. So, well, and we will find out the reason they actually broke up is definitely contempt. We mentioned this table where they're all having dinner is for the Writers Guild Award, and we're discovering that Matt is such a brilliant writer that he is now receiving an award for
brilliance in writing.
Yeah, whatever movie he just did. We're not going to learn anything about this movie to my memory. It's just whatever movie he and Danny were working on, he won the award for it. And he's so high that when he stands up and Danny hugs him, he thinks that Danny's hugging him to comfort him about the fact that he and Harriet broke up, and Danny has to whisper in his ear, you won the award, go up there and claim your award.
One of the other people at the table's like, is he going to be okay up there? He was very high on back medication. And
yes.
And Danny's like, it'll be fine.
then somebody comes to tell Danny that Jordan is here to talk to him. Jordan, the new head of NBS, wants to speak to him right now. So he leaves. He leaves in the middle of Matt's acceptance speech, which honestly, I feel like they play you off after 30 seconds. I feel like, I know she's the head of a network, but you don't work for that network. You could have put her off for 30 seconds.
He leaves. And then Matt is like, I wouldn't be where I am right now without my partner, Danny. My partner, Danny, who is always by my side. By my side is always where my partner, Danny, is. Why don't you shine a spotlight onto Danny, who will be sitting next to my seat because he is always by my side. Shine a spotlight on so we can see how here Danny is right now to support me. And they do, and he's not because he left with the network lady.
And then, of course, Matt turns to the presenter who gave him the award and is like, you see that seat's empty too, right?
Just so you, the audience, know.
So now we get another bit of text across the screen. The big three. So now we're going to see what Harriet, Tom, and Simon are doing.
Harriet being played by, of course, the amazing Sarah Paulson.
Wait, since you said she's being played by Sarah Paulson, I just want to bring this up.
Okay.
She is playing Harriet Hayes, and there are going to be... I'm sorry, I paused for a second because I was wondering if I should wait to bring this up, but you know what? I'm just going to bring it up now.
That she's Kristen Chenoweth?
Oh, no, we're definitely... She's Kristen Chenoweth. She is Kristen Chenoweth. Speaking of ungenerous reads, this show is going to have her do a lot of things that are similar to things Kristen Chenoweth did, but the most ungenerous reading of it you could have. And
like the quote we mangled and took out of context earlier, this is basically just Aaron Sorkin relitigating his relationship with Kristen Chenoweth and changing things to make it so that she's wrong more.
This is basically the last 5 years, where that's what Aaron Sorkin thinks he's doing.
Yes. Which also the last 5 years fails at. It's a story about a guy's relationship that failed that's based off of a real relationship that failed. And the guy writing it clearly thinks he's in the right.
But no, definitely not.
I mean, although obviously he acknowledges that he cheated on his wife. So, like,
yeah, but he did it because she didn't understand him.
Yes, but the last 5 years at least acknowledges that the guy was, majorly at fault.
Now, one of the things about Kristen Chenoweth is that she is vocally Christian.
Mm-hmm.
You know what else she is?
Very pro-gay rights.
Exactly. This character is less so, I will say. But she is being played by Sarah Paulson, an out lesbian actress.
Yes. Gay icon. And it's nice to have a gay icon who's actually gay, which doesn't always happen.
As opposed to, like,
Cher.
Kristen Chenoweth.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, 100% there.
So one of the PAs is talking to Harriet about the fact that the press wants to talk to her specifically because she is a Christian, and they got word that the sketch that was cut was Crazy Christian, so,
They don't say the name here, though.
Right, they say the press has become aware of the nature of the sketch.
Yeah, and they're assuming that you're the one who killed it, because you're the crazy Christian lady.
Oh, I didn't get the impression that they thought she killed it so much that they just wanted her opinion because they knew she was vocally Christian. And by the way, I'm saying vocally Christian because you know who else is Christian?
Most of America.
Most of America. Like...
I mean, church attendance is way down. People are less practicing.
But this is 2005.
This is 2005. This is post a big national event, and people tend to go more back to religion after those happen.
I'm just saying, everyone needs to calm down. That's what I'm saying.
Well, probably less now, huh? I feel like we've had like 5 big world events, and I feel like people have not become more religious in the wake of those, although that was definitely a thing post 9/11.
Well, I mean, church attendance has been falling. Yeah, you're right. It has been falling. Churches have been losing young people pretty heavily.
Shocking, yeah.
I know. Well, so when I was in law school, I studied for a semester in Rome. Specifically, while I was in Rome, I studied canon law.
Uh-huh.
And one of the priests who taught the canon law mentioned that he basically felt like the church had betrayed, future generations and was rightfully being punished by losing attendance. He was a pretty cool priest.
We should really get more into the show. We've been recording for an hour and a half, and we're like halfway through it.
Well, I mean, don't tell them what the timestamp is, because I'm honestly probably going to cut a few tangents, so who knows what the timestamp's going to be.
No,
Look
I think
at the
it's good.
timestamp! Tell them what it is!
I know, I think it's good, because that way they know how much we cut. Or don't, in my case.
Yeah, if you listen to the ones I edit, I think they're tighter, because I cut a lot more. I'm a lot harsher on our tangents.
And we have gone on many in this one.
So, Harriet Hayes is talking to the control room guy, and he lets us know that he waited 53 seconds before he cut off Wes. So, he is pretty sure he's going to be fired. And I like this. Harriet's like, well, there's no rule book for what happened. And he's like, yeah, there is. There's definitely very clear rules, and I just didn't do them.
He mentions that they've been talking to Matt, and he's like, you two broke up, didn't you? And she's like, yes. And he's like, because of the Star-Spangled Banner thing. And she's like, oh my god, he's telling everyone about that. And she's like, no, not because of the Star-Spangled Banner thing. We need to mention that a few more times in case the audience forgot.
This is a very Aaron Sorkin thing, though, which is to have characters who are not in the same scene repeat the same phrase over and over again. So it becomes kind of a joke where it's like, yeah, everybody knows that Commedia dell'arte is Italian, not French. Like, that becomes a running joke.
And he's like, that's not the full story? And she's like, it's not the full story. And he's like, the Star-Spangled Banner isn't the full story? And she's like, the Star-Spangled Banner is not the full story.
So the actors are all kind of sitting together at a club. This is like the after party, by the way.
Yes.
And they discuss the fact that Felicity Huffman hightailed it out of there as soon as the show was over. And we see, finally, Harriet and Tom and Simon all sitting together.
The big three.
And when Harriet sits down with the other actors, they all want to know about the Star-Spangled Banner!
Oh my god, we get it. She's talking about how, like, well, they're talking about how the show's been collapsing since Matt and Danny left, how, you know, the show hasn't been good since Matt and Danny left, and how the sketch that was written seemed like the old show back when they were brilliant, subversive television, back when the mailbox falls down.
I assume the mailbox was Haldeman?
Yes.
So Harriet leaves, she's like, she's upset, she's like, Matt must be really excited, the show collapsed, I'm collapsing, and one of the other actors who's not one of the big three, who's just some minor actor, she even calls him Rook, like Rookie.
You might remember him from being the guy from Bucky Larson, Child Star.
Not the main guy.
No, he was the main guy.
Oh, he was? No, he wasn't.
No, you're right. Bucky Larson, Child Star was David Spade. He was something Born to be a Star was his movie.
Oh, okay.
Where he was a guy who wanted to be famous. It might have been Dickie Larson. Larson and I forget the David Spade former Child Star.
He's in Adam Sandler's crew.
Yeah, he's in a lot of Adam Sandler movies.
So he says to Harriet, "Don't you pray before every show? Did it just not work tonight?" And she tells him, "Listen, until you find Jesus or say something that makes us laugh, you can sit down and shut the fuck up."
Good for her.
And then, of course, she storms out, but the other two of the big three come join her in an alleyway. So we get the idea that these three are super tight-knit and they're always going to be together. And they ask her, "Were you offended by the sketch?" And she says, "I'm offended I wasn't in it. It was the tightest writing this show's had in years."
Again, since Matt and Danny left, you know, the show has really gone downhill. It's weird. It kind of, not to go back to our other podcast, it kind of reminds me of how Charmed feels like it has to repeat the same plot points 2 or 3 times to make sure you don't forget them.
Yeah. So PA tells them that everybody's being called back to the stage. So everybody's got to go back to Studio 60. This is weird to me. Like, what if they hadn't gone to the after party?
Yeah. Felicity Huffman's not coming back.
Well, I mean, I don't think Felicity Huffman cares about who the head writer of the show's going to be now. So Matt has been driven to the show separate. He never met back up with Danny, but he's been driven to the show separately. And he's like, "What's going on?" And the PA who drove him to the show is like, "We'll explain inside." And I mean, like, you picked up a guy who's high on Vicodin, whose friend abandoned him, and you just drove him off somewhere.
Jordan is showing Danny the clip of the guy flipping out on live TV.
they're in her hotel room, but I have to say, like, the hotel room that they're in, I don't know, it makes me feel like West Wing again.
I know, the set feels so aggressively West Wing here.
So Jordan approaches Danny and is like, yep, so I'm the new head of the network, and as you can see on the tape, Wes decided that he hated television, on television.
And Danny's like, wow, I can't believe this happened on your first day. And she's like, well, that's what I said earlier, so I guess we have to hook up now.
Ugh. Anyway.
I'm like, what, 40 years younger than you? It's fine.
She tells Danny that she wants him and Matt to write for the show, and she happens to know because she has a ex-boyfriend who does not care at all about HIPAA regulations, but works for an insurance company and has let her know that Danny failed a drug test, which means that he can't get insurance for his new shoot, which means that for the next 18 months he's going to be uninsurable. And I gotta say, I kind of like the way the dialogue... I like the dialogue here. He's like, are you blackmailing me? And she's like, listen, all I care about is that, from my point of view, this means that you are free for the next 18 months. That's my only concern.
Yeah, he's working on a new brilliant movie, but he can't do it until he clears the drug test for insurance reasons.
Yeah, he has to have clean drug tests for the next 18 months. She only wants him for 2 years. She'll back a truckload of money up to him. It kind of feels win-win. We're not going to say it this episode, but I do have to say we will find out that the movie they're working on, which is presumably a comedy because that's what they write, but I mean, is it really? Because whatever.
Well, they write elevated comedy.
Yeah, okay, so just so you all know, we're going to find out later. What's the, like, most annoying hipsterish thing you can imagine the movie that they're working on being about? I know you already know, but... because I told you before.
I honest to God do not remember.
Oh! It's about Tesla!
Oh my god. Yeah. Oh my god.
The scientist, not the car company.
No. Yeah. Okay. We've gone through too many diversions. We can't talk about Tesla and its owner. I don't love that the way she got this information was from an ex-boyfriend. That feels very...
Well, I actually brought that up because in future episodes that's going to come back to bite her. So...
yeah.
Yep, so he's all like, oh, but you're a network suit. I can't trust network suits.
And she's like, I'm not wearing a suit because I'm a woman.
Also, like, you don't need to trust her. She's offering to pay you for a job. You know what you need is just a contract. A contract that gives you whatever creative freedom you want.
Yeah, or not even. Like...
yeah.
Like, you clearly don't need to care about this. I mean, I get it. He's an artist. He puts his whole heart in all of his art, and that's why she's hiring him. But...
how does he know she's going to protect his artistic integrity? Anyway, he finally gets to the studio, and Matt confronts him about the fact that he wasn't sitting there when Matt was like, my friend Danny, who's always by my side. And we find out that Danny has not previously told Matt about the failed drug test, and this is when he tells him. He tested positive for cocaine, so now he needs to test negative for 2 years before he can shoot another movie.
I will give credit where it's due. This is a nice scene between these two talented actors. You know. That's
the thing! A lot of these scenes are good scenes between talented actors. It's just that the stakes are not that high, Aaron Sorkin! Everyone needs to calm down!
Yeah, and Matt's like, look, if you don't want to do this, like, we can just pay for the movie ourselves. You know, we can just insure the movie ourselves. And the guy, and Danny's like, how much money do you have? And Matt's like $65.
He's like, we'll make cuts, we'll shoot in Vancouver. But listen, their artistic vision isn't about shooting in Vancouver. And then, okay, you know what? I have to admit, I don't really understand this. Matt gets really angry about Jordan, like, holding this over Danny. They all talk about Jordan conceivably blackmailing Danny about this. She is not blackmailing him. She just has a piece of information. Like,
he also has a comment about everyone wanting to sleep with Jordan.
Yeah, he does.
It's not fantastic.
But how do people think jobs work? You don't blackmail someone into taking a job like this.
That just reminds me of when we were watching Charmed, And Phoebe's boss offered her a raise so she wouldn't find another job. And she was like, he's just doing that so I won't find another job. And you were like, yes, Phoebe, that's how raises work.
Yes!
They're an incentive to stay at your current job. He's not blackmailing you.
Anyway, Matt storms into the room where all the executives are and is like, Jordan, how dare you use Danny's positive cocaine test against him like this? And Danny's like, nobody knew about that except me and Jordan.
And Matt turns around and he's like, I am high on back pain medication for the back surgery I just had on my back. Yeah, I definitely think he was just regular high at one point. And
yeah, in the script.
Yes. So Steven Weber asks the two writers what they thought about Wes's speech, and
it's been made clear that whatever it was that drove them out before, he was a part of it. So they
turn on Wes. They're like, it was very unprofessional. It wasn't the thing to be done.
And then Steven Weber, Jack, pushes them a little further. He's like, okay, but do you think television is bad? And then they're like, yeah, it is bad. But you know what? It has the ability to be transcendent. It can be the most important thing in the world.
And Matt says, look, a few years ago, we were too much for you. We were too radical for you. And you kicked us out, and we went out and we got famous off of our brilliant scripts, and now you want us back.
And Jack's like, I absolutely don't want you back. Jordan is just making me do this.
Yep. Matt and Danny seem to switch which one of them doesn't want to take the job a lot, because Danny gets really mad and storms out of the room because he wants to do his art, and Matt's like, I'll talk him around, even though in the last scene Matt was the one who didn't want to do this.
So I think basically Danny doesn't want Matt to do it because he's going to try to convince Matt to do the movie with a different director. So I think he just feels guilty that essentially they're not doing their dream project because of his drug test. But also, like, again, it's 18 months. Calm down. This show's not even going to be around in 18 months. And essentially, they have a handshake deal now. This is going to happen. It's going to work. And Jack again reminds Jordan that she's way out on a limb here.
Like, this better work or the show's getting canned and so is she.
This actually does kind of remind me of a 30 Rock thing where Jack is like, why am I spending all of my time on this one show?
Yes.
So
You make 1% of my revenue and yet take up 90% of my time.
So, okay, this is my favorite moment in this entire episode, and I think this really just...
It's your favorite moment in the series, I think.
I think it summarizes my whole is this good or not moment. Danny walks downstairs and runs into Susan the PA.
Suzanne the PA.
And she says to him, are you coming to save us?
Oh my god.
What?
Again, a line.
What?
Again, a line you could feasibly get away with when your show is about the government.
Are you coming to save us? I love this show.
Dear Lord.
It is so full of itself. Oh.
And Matt doesn't know how to. He chuckles softly and he's like, "Get everyone to the stage."
Yeah, he's gonna make a big speech, which is really a mistake because remember, Vicodin. Oh. And I'm sorry, can we just have a gross moment where he runs into Harriet?
Oh my god, every scene between these two is so awful.
And, like, let's talk about the power dynamics here. Like, he tells Harriet he and Danny are coming back and they're taking over. And he's like, I'm gonna be your boss now, so we have to postpone this fight for a couple of years. The power dynamics here are so gross. They broke up and now he's, like... making her he's making her behave civilly while at the same time being super passive aggressive to her.
Yeah, and she's like, "Look, can you just stop telling people we broke up because of the national anthem?" And he's like, "Why? It's a story that makes me look bad." And she's like, "It makes me look bad too."
But this is where we find out that the reason they actually broke up is because she went on the 700 Club. And honestly, we'll talk about this more in one of our segments, but that puts me on his side. If he was telling people I broke up with her because she went on the 700 Club, I'd be like, yeah, okay, fair.
Yeah.
Fair. Weirdly, Aaron Sorkin and Kristen Chenoweth didn't break up when she went on the 700 Club.
Mm.
And just in case you're not going to listen all the way to the end to our segments, like, she has come out afterwards and said she regrets doing that.
Mm. So, they're relitigating the last fight, you know. She's like, there are good people out there, and no one's going to reach them if, you know, nobody reaches out. And he's like, you're enabling bigots.
Oh, and just to be clear, like Kristen Chenoweth, she is both an actress and a singer, and she had an album of Christian songs, as Kristen Chenoweth did, which is why she went on the 700 Club to promote it. Both of them, both Harriet and Kristen.
Yes.
And he's like, I don't care, you sang for a bigot, which, yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird that Aaron Sorkin didn't think that would put us on his side. Isn't it? Isn't it weird that Aaron Sorkin didn't think that...
He also had her slap him for basically no reason, because then they kind of just keep having the conversation after, like...
It doesn't end the discussion, yeah.
Yeah, like, it happens, and then they keep talking for a while.
Alright, I feel like this next exchange is super Aaron Sorkin-y. Matt finally finds Danny, and Danny's like, you should do the movie anyway. You can get another director. You can get someone good. And Matt says, I don't want anyone else. I want you. And Danny's like, the joke is that you should have made is, I don't want someone good. I want you. And he's like, yeah, I know what the joke is. That feels very Aaron Sorkin to me. That feels very like old school vaudeville, but with a twist.
Honestly, Danny and Matt's relationship is the strongest part of this show on a genuine level.
And I think that's why this show falls apart when Danny starts to be obsessed with Jordan. Okay, but I think I just narrowed down how I would define Aaron Sorkin's dialogue style, which is vaudeville but self-aware. And I have to ask you, is that good? Or is that terrible?
I genuinely think it's pretty terrible, honestly. But...
Oh. So, yeah, they talk about the show.
And how only one of them can screw up at a time now.
And Matt says, you know, most of the time it's going to be me, so I hope that you really are in recovery again. Jordan finds them and confronts them and tells them, hey, next time we're in a meeting with, like, all of the higher-ups, can you pretend that to fall in line so that my job is easier? And they're like, we don't want your job to be easier. And she's like, okay, but you should, because I'm the one who's on your side. I'm going to be your best friend.
I, a woman who people have such little faith in, that the NASDAQ dipped because it was my first day today.
Yeah. Also, she tells them that the two terrible hack writers, Ricky and Ron, have to stay on for the 3 years that's in their contract, so...
Wah wah.
Get ready for that tension. And this is where the audience finally finds out that Matt is the one who wrote the Crazy Christian sketch. And Jordan's like, yeah, I knew that, because I know everything. Because I'm a character written by Aaron Sorkin, so when necessary, I know everything. And because I'm a woman written by Aaron Sorkin, when necessary, I know literally nothing.
I swing between two extremes, a mega genius and a literal baby.
I'm either psychic, or I'm a person who works in television that has never seen a VCR before. One of those two things. Anyway, she tells Matt that to prove that she's for real, when they come back next week, she wants them to put on Crazy Christians. Although they still haven't said the name of the sketch.
Yes.
And because Danny is now the executive producer, he talks to the control room operator. He's like, hey, I know that you left Wes on for 53 seconds. And,
I don't think it was an accident. And the guy's like, yeah, obviously.
And he's like, all right, keep it up. You can keep your job. And listen, if you'd kept him on for 54 seconds, I'd have given you a raise.
Good lord.
I know, right? What a jackass. Although, presumably what he means is, if you had let him say motherfucker, which is what got cut off.
Yes.
That would have cost the network a lot of money. Just throwing that out there, Danny. Get your head out of your ass. It's a business.
Remember the episode of 30 Rock where Tracy discovered that he can do whatever he wants as long as he pays the FCC afterwards?
And that because he's so rich, it's like a minor inconvenience for him?
Yeah.
Yes, I do remember that.
Honestly, that's the sort of thing I would prefer rich people do with their money. Like, if Elon Musk was spending his time buying airtime so he could say the F word as much as he wanted, and by the F word I mean fuck, not one of the offensive ones he actually wants to use. But if he was just spending his money to go on the air, say that, and pay it off, way better use of his time.
Yes.
More rich people need to do shit like that.
I agree.
I mean, you have so much money. You could do literally anything, and you're choosing to... You bought Twitter so that you could win arguments on Twitter.
Ugh. Okay, but you already said we're not going to talk about Elon Musk.
Yes, that's right.
So, Matt kind of looks out at the studio, and he's like, you know what? This is a nice studio. And Danny says, good, because we live here now.
We're gonna make it after all.
Okay, I know you're joking, but they actually play Under Pressure, which I feel like is kind of the perfect outro song there.
Yes.
So,
that was the first episode. It didn't have the iconic bit I remember from the pilot, but I'm assuming the first two episodes aired together, so... Yeah, woof. That was certainly an episode of television.
So, yeah, that was the very first episode of Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip. I am so excited to go through this show.
Until the Christmas episode.
This show is coming to save us.
This show is coming to save us.
So we have created some segments for this show, and as we have indicated, this podcast is going to be comparing the show to 30 Rock pretty heavily.
Mm-hmm.
And our first segment is half as funny and twice as long.
Yes.
Where we identify a 30 Rock plot that mirrors whatever happened on Studio 60.
I mean, let's be clear. This is just blatantly the pilot of 30 Rock.
But different in an interesting way.
That a new actor is coming on to save the show and not an old writer.
Yes, but the old writer and the old director are coming on to make the show more artistic, more artistically worthy, whereas in 30 Rock, explicitly, Tracy Jordan is being brought on the show to make it more commercial.
Let's just out and out say the plot that is the same. A new network head forces a showrunner to change their show by bringing on new talent. These are it's the same plot.
Yes, but like I said, in opposite directions.
Yes, Tracy Jordan is going to make TGS more lowbrow to have more mainstream appeal.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Danny and Matt are going to make the show higher brow and thus raise everything else up.
One of those shows lasted for several seasons and one was done before one. So just throwing that out there.
Apparently you can't go wrong with Lowest Common Denominator. Although, as we all know, 30 Rock was a very well-written show.
Our second segment is You Know My Work, which is where we talk about what in the episode tracked with Aaron Sorkin's life. And we already did kind of do it as we were going through the show.
His breakup with Kristen Chenoweth.
Yes, Harriet Hayes is Kristen Chenoweth. We're going to be talking about her a lot. And she did, in fact, go on the 700 Club to promote her album.
A career move she has deeply regretted.
Mm-hmm. Interestingly, and this is also going to follow what's going to happen in this show, but, well, it did make a lot of her queer fans very angry, rightly so. She also pissed off a lot of her Christian fans when she did that, because she was openly supporting gay rights. So
it's a move that made no one happy.
It's a move that made no one happy. Yeah.
Much like bringing Robert Downey Jr. back as Dr. Doom.
I don't really mind that. It is what it is.
I think what it is we're seeing the death throes of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That's what I think it is.
Our final segment is Listen, Lady. A gender I write perfectly well for when the story calls for it. Oh, and just to be clear, these last two segments are named after lines that Aaron Sorkin has in the television show 30 Rock when he appears. But the final segment, the listen, lady, a gender I write perfectly well for when the story calls for it, is what was our terrible female representation this episode?
Okay, well, we got introduced to our two female leads. The uptight Christian woman who, I mean, oh my god. It's hard to talk about Harriet without it being... This is clearly someone who's written into the script so that the writer stand-in can win arguments against her.
I mean, that's what we're here for. But at least Harriet, I feel like, isn't asked to do anything truly unintelligent in this episode.
She's also not as strictly defined by her gender as Jordan is.
Yes, Jordan, practically every line from her is about whether or not men find her sexy, how her being a woman affects her doing the job, or her not knowing where her office is.
Yeah. Like, Jordan feels like she's playing to separate yet intersecting fetishes. She's kind of the Born Sexy Yesterday thing, except in a real-world context. The thing where there's this incredibly powerful being that lacks basic knowledge, so it needs some average smo to hold its hand and maybe make out with it a little bit. As seen in The Fifth Element, or every anime ever.
Next time we're going to be talking about the episode that, as I mentioned, aired back-to-back when this premiered. Season 1, Episode 2, The Cold Open. And the description from Google, because I had to pay for these episodes because it's not streaming anywhere, oh no, is Matt and Danny have 5 days to put together their first show, which is receiving enormous media attention. Harriet tries her best to work with Matt, with whom she's recently broken up. Meanwhile,
they never mentioned that in this episode. I'm glad they told us that.
Meanwhile, Jordan puts her new job on the line by standing up to pressure regarding a controversial sketch. Y'all, The Cold Open.
If it's what I'm thinking it is, it's one of the iconic moments of the show.
I would say it's the iconic moment. Honestly, I feel a little bad that we're splitting this in two because you know how you said somebody said that the first episode was good and then everything else was bad?
Yes.
I think that Cold Open that Matt and Danny write for the show is quintessential to Studio 60 on the Sunset Strip, and I cannot wait to talk about it. So much so that when we're done recording, even though it is late at night now, I might be like, let's watch the episode now and get ready for it.
I think it's a good thing we didn't do both of the episodes because we are just finally done talking about the first episode, and it's been 2 hours. I'm assuming it will be less by the time it reaches your ears, but as we are recording, we have been talking about this television show for 2 hours.
I feel like I could talk for 2 hours more. Max?
Yes.
Are you coming to save us?
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
I want everyone to meet on the main stage.
This show is partially listener supported. If you want to be one of those supporters, you should head over to our website, www.welcometotelevision.net, and click on our Patreon link. We'd like to thank our current $5 and above patrons, Beryl, Patricia, Rosa, Ryan, Maricruz, Benjamin, Kate, Jen, Dan, Anthony, and Daniel.
If you'd like to support the show in other ways, you could always rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. It helps other people find the show.
If you want to talk about this episode, or any episode of any television show, you can email us at ilovetelevisionzines@gmail.com, or you can find us on Blue Sky at Welcome to Television.
So until next time, I'm Max.
And I'm Tina.
And this has been Welcome to the Sunset Strip. Hollywood Blonde.
Don't know what this song's gonna be yet.